Jason Kelce, he addressed the message that he sent to the locker room after losing this past weekend, getting leaked pretty much, and the big fella gets a little emotional, I will say. Here's Jason Kelce talking about his future in football on the New Heights podcast.
You know, Nick kind of gave me an opportunity to talk. I didn't announce what I was doing on purpose, despite, I guess, what's been leaked to the media. I just don't think you're in a position after a game like that to really make that decision. I just don't. There's too much emotion in the moment to really fully grasp that decision. I'm not trying to be dramatic and continue to draw this thing out. I'm really not. It's just something that I think, you know, when it's time to officially announce, you know, what's happening in the future, it'll be done in a way that's, you know, definitive and pays respect to a lot of people and individuals that have meant a lot to me and has led to the career I've had. You know, I don't think that it would be respectful or even accurate to be able to do that right after a game like that.
Yeah.
But I did address the team and pretty much said the same thing that I just said to you, which is, you know, I got belief in every single one of you guys. You know, cherish the moment you have in this league. A lot of guys like, you know, if that is your last game, I feel sorry for you. And I'm like, yo, don't feel sorry for me, motherfucker.
Oh, no.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, man.
Oh, Jason Kelce, I mean, don't feel sorry for me. I've had and he was about to say a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
A phenomenal career.
Of course.
And they start thinking back on all the moments. And then whenever he was saying, you know, to do it the right way is like to thank his, like, Little League coach, obviously his parents, his brother, I assume, high school coaches, state of Ohio, University of Cincinnati, like the whole thing, everybody that's kind of affected his life. So I assume he feels a certain type of way about not being able to do it his own way. We talked to Mitch Morse yesterday, and he basically sang his praises. And I even mentioned to Mitch Morse that you're a D1 hater. And you even sang Jason Kelce's praises. He's a guy. He's been the guy. And what did the Eagles team... What do they lose whenever he's gone? And what has Kelce's career kind of been like from your point of view as a guy who's basically been there the same, right? I mean, he's our age, I think.
Yeah, he is. He's a year younger. So 2010, I was in Philly when literally they drafted him. So I got to watch him his rookie year and have the utmost respect for what this guy does, what he means, what he stands for as a player, as a person. He's unbelievable. Got a signed jersey from him. I think it means the world to me, right?
Oh, you got his autograph.
That's sweet.
You got
pretty awesome.
You got Jason Kelce's autograph?
You guys do a swap?
Well, we did, but here's the deal.
He asked for yours?
I mean, it's kind of like a little center thing, right? Like a little center.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
Wow. Nice.
I didn't know he asked. He's asking for your autograph.
I don't know if it's up on the wall. I know his. I think it's up on my wall. But
It's cleaning rag.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
better
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, might be using it as a rag on his car
In the
which is
toilet,
Okay,
yeah.
which is okay. But I mean, he's unbelievable. And some people were posting some highlights. You know, I saw on Twitter yesterday. He's so good, and he's been so good for so long. And he's been durable. He's reliable, and he goes to work. You see the knee brace on him. I mean, he's obviously a little banged up at the end of this year. He just plays and plays and plays and plays his ass off.
He's an old-ass man now at this point, D-Butt. And whenever we got to watch that documentary on Amazon Prime, which I think was their most watched documentary of all time, on that documentary that we watched on Prime with Kelce, it's like you saw him hang out with his family. And you saw him, like, with his daughters and, like, appreciating that time. And he talked to us about how, you know, if he feels like he can still be a player and still have that time and enjoy it all, that was going to go into the conversation. When you have to retire and you saw him get choked up, it's not easy at all.
No.
Especially for guys that are GOATs, guys that are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers, guys that played 9 years are appreciated by everybody that they played alongside. That's not an easy decision to make at all. Yesterday, while we were talking about it, like, obviously we had to talk about it because it was headlines everywhere. It wasn't like we were the only people talking about it. But as I was doing it, I'm like, I wonder how Jason Kelce feels about this being how it is being talked about, his retirement. Not easy decision.
Not at all, especially with him. You know, obviously a great career. Height, won the Super Bowl, then lost the Super Bowl, came back this year. Obviously, it didn't end how he wanted to. We're just wired, you know, to compete. And you know, at some point, like you said, don't feel sorry for him, you know, because he had a great career. He reached those highs, got paid, all these different things. So definitely don't feel sorry for him. But regardless of where you are, 5-year career, 15-year, when you go and take that leap, it's a huge leap. And it's a tough transition for a lot of people for different reasons. So I'm sure it's some fear there as well. Then just not been in that locker room with your guys, especially the position he plays. Like, it's almost like another quarterback, you know, in the trenches on both sides. So just the utmost respect for him. Obviously, you know, insiders and guys, you know, they got a job to do. They want to be the first to leak certain things. But a guy like this, you know, I think
who in that locker room leaked that? You think could have been anybody? I guess could have been trainer.
Yeah.
I mean, you know the game. It's a lot. You know, everybody's got moles and rats, and
everybody does.
We're learning more and more and more as we go, aren't we?
A lot of fees out there.
Trainers, coaches, front office people. Like who knows where it can go.
Well, what do you get out of it? What do you get? Oh, you get a future narrative builder for you.
Yeah, get some help down the road.
And that's whole scratch my back. Scratch your back, but my back's located.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that whole situation that they've got going on there. He's maybe he'll just focus full time on being a model too and being the sexiest man on earth, man.
Could do that. Could also focus on being, you know, the greatest sports podcast out there right now. But you mentioned the doc. Like, as someone who didn't really know Jason Kelce as, you know, a casual fan growing up, watching the documentary, he's just one of those guys that everyone loves, and it's easy to root for. But for you guys, like, how hard is it to retire when the message for a lot of the year, even when they're struggling, is like, hey, we're so close. Like, we are right there. We just have a couple plays where, you know, we don't get the exact look or whatever situation it is. And especially when, you know, your best player gets hurt for the playoffs. Like, how hard is it knowing in your mind, hey, this team could go on and win a Super Bowl next year again, just like last year?
So for me, vastly different story, I assume, than you guys. Yeah. I retired after a Pro Bowl, and I said, all right, I'm done. And I was okay with it. I was completely cool with the whole thought of it. I did think the team was going to continue to be great.
Yeah.
But I was just like, all right, I'll just cover the team. But I had no impact on whether or not we were going to win games. Like, I could help. But if we're down 21 in the second half, I might as well have a seat in the front row. You know what I mean? Because I'm watching, like, hey, let's do this. So my happiness started being dependent upon how everybody else was. I was doing, this sounds so selfish, but it was like I was having my greatest, I was unconscious for a while, just like doing my job better than ever. And then I wasn't able to be happy though because we were losing. So it was like, for me, it was like, is it worth it anymore at my position to continue to do this? And it was a difficult decision, obviously, because you're taking a leap. And I've played competitive sports my whole entire life. So it's like that has been my entire regimen. So I think that was the biggest thing for me. A lot of guys, though, get told when it's over. Yeah. You know, a lot of guys get told when it's over, like, hey, it's over because you're no longer good enough, which then guys get jaded towards the sport, towards the league, towards the team, because for the first time in their entire life, literally, if guys are playing 13, 14 years, they started playing when they're, 5, 6 years old?
Yep.
Now at this point, they're 37, 38, almost 40 years old, even older, I guess, than that, and they're being told, hey, you're not good enough anymore. That's the first time in their life in any competition where they've been told you're not good. So some people get a little bit jaded. Some people get very pissed off about that. Turns them off to the game. Some guys don't even watch the NFL or football for years afterwards because of how angry they are without it. Then inevitably they start coming back. You know, then inevitably they start coming back, and then they remember why they fell in love with football, and they understand nowadays that their knowledge of football can bring them a lot of money, and it can be a profession, and you don't have to just disappear and wither away, and your resume does matter and everything like that. But the medical one, the injury one, is the one that's tough, and I think that is something that AQ can kind of talk about. And I'm not saying Jason Kelce's going away because of that, although he is banged up seemingly.
Yeah, always, all
the time. At the age he's at, especially with the tush push where he has to get on the ground and scream my life before every single one of them. It's like the injury one for you, that was tough as a very good friend of yours, I assume for your family and for you. Did you get jaded at all towards the sport? What was kind of, because for those that don't know, AQ walked into a doctor's office, after playing with Tom Brady in the middle of a probable Super Bowl run. First time getting a chance to really start because Ryan got hurt, right?
Ali Marpet got hurt. They moved Jensen to guard.
Got it. Ali Marpet got hurt, moved Jensen to guard. AQ gets to play now on a Super Bowl team with Tom Brady, year 12.
Played well, too.
Here we go, playing
Here
good.
We go.
And then gets a injury. Obviously knew it was something involving spine, neck. Goes into a doctor's office like 2 days later, expecting like, hey, probably 2-3 weeks, gonna have to do this thing. Instead, doctor just says, hey, you're not playing football ever again.
You're done.
Right? That's how it all kind of took place.
Exactly how it went. I mean, and I called you literally minutes after I get this news, right? I mean, I was very, very upset. I think the biggest thing, like when you're, for me, like I knew I could have stolen another couple of years. Like I knew that. Like I knew I was still playing at a high level. I knew my body was in good enough shape to.
Had enough connections
to kind of, whether or not, and listen, when I went down to Tampa, I wasn't going down there to be the starter. I was going down there to be like the veteran mentor in the locker room, and I could have done that for like 2 or 3 more years, right? And so then, you know, when that plug is pulled, like within seconds, it's like, whoa, like what just happened, right?
Life.
And so, and now my case was obviously middle of the season, but there's so many other cases where it's, you know, they've had 6 surgeries in the last 5 years, right? And those ones now it's like, man, like it's struggling for me to get out of bed. It's a struggle for me to walk to the bathroom in the morning, right? Like those things. And then that's when it's like, oh, it's time. But like you're never prepared for it, ever. Ever.
Yeah.
What happened? I don't think I remember.
I had a position change going into my 9th year. So I had a 1-year deal, was moved to safety. Had a good year, and like same situation. Felt like I could have stayed playing, still had the connections. Body wasn't very banged up, but kind of towards the end of the season, and that was a tough year for injuries and winning and shit. Like that's when, you know, teams started doing different things for the future. So towards the end of the year, I kind of already had my mind made, like, okay, I end this year healthy. After this season, if it's not like because I wanted to play 10. I played 9, got the 9. I wanted to play 10. But if I told my agent, if it's not like the perfect situation coming in, getting the role that I want, getting the money that I want, just don't even call me. Like, because I would rather just flip that switch and start going forward. Because full. Because that's the biggest thing, honestly, transition. You spoke about it, starting at 5, retiring. I was 32 and I retired. But whenever you retire, 25, 20 years, like you're, as a football player, basketball player, hockey player, like that's your identity. For a lot of guys, like that's who you are. And that was what I did. It was a big part of who I am, but it never was everything. You know what I mean? So I felt I wasn't like terrified of going out into the real world. I feel like football prepares you for a lot of different things. You take a lot of shit you learn in the locker room and coaches and all those different things and take them to life. You can go a long way. But I was mentally kind of ready. But then, like you said, once that season starts or training camp comes around, it's like, damn, you start to get that itch.
Yeah.
You know, you're not working out the same anymore. You know, so it was tough. But at the same time, I was kind of ready for it.
Yeah, I think everybody stays on the routine for the first like 5 years probably after they retire. That's why like J.J. Watt is still squatting.
Yeah.
You know, he's still getting out of the rack. You know why? Because that's literally what he's done his entire life. And then you'll see guys start to, okay, now we're getting a little fatter. Okay, fall's coming around.
Yeah.
We're not getting ready to do anything. We're like 3 years removed from the league. Now we're out there. But everybody's so, I don't want to say systematic and routine, but it's very real. So Jason Kelce getting choked up there, when he does give his official.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Full.
Got to be in that fit.
Yeah, but
That'd be a nice video.
He's going to.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, he's a big emotional bear, too.
For sure.
He wears his heart literally right there on his sleeve. He's done great things for the NFL. We're very lucky that he was in there.